Hello, everyone, and welcome to Global Wellness for All podcast. My name is Lale Hancock, and I have the great pleasure of being your host every single week, bringing in conversations, tools, resources to bringing more wellness and well-being in all aspects of our lives, whether it's relationships, it's finances, business, our bodies and mental health, whether it's having more communion with our magical earth or bringing more awareness and consciousness in everything that we're choosing. So thank you so much for being here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Global Wellness for All podcast. My name is Lale Hancock, and I have the great pleasure of being your host today. So what are we going to talk about today? You know, one thing that came up for conversation is how often do we go into protection mode instead of being aware? And the story actually started so different than I would have imagined. A week ago, I was in Paris at a facilitator training with Access Consciousness, and I plugged my laptop in and then left to do some business things, conversations, meetings, and realized my laptop was at the venue. Well, at this point, the venue had already closed. It was this beautiful aviation museum, which we rent every year to have our trainings there. And trying to get a hold of French people when they're gone for the day is very different than I would say what I've experienced in America. And it was really interesting because with most of us these days, our laptops are one of the most important assets of our lives. Our day-to-day communication between our cell phones and our laptops get us to have meetings across the pond, as they say, or over the river. But everything is seamless once we have our laptops, from email communication to Zooms, to podcasts, to gaming, to even communicating with our family members. But what happens when that technology is not available? What's the first thing that we do? Okay, what's plan B, right? But what if it's not about plan A and plan B? What I realized that evening, I had a special event that I was hosting that evening, and I ended up having to do it on my phone because I only had about 10 minutes between the venue and my event starting online. And it started to actually allow me to ask questions. So often we go to conclusion. My laptop is gone, therefore. Instead of, what's right about this? What's right about me actually walking away and not remembering to bring my laptop? Because that's the first thing we do is I did something wrong, and therefore this is the consequence. But do you know, since that night, I've gotten so much information, so much awareness, so much more creativity in the way we do certain things in our business. So what if those moments in your life where you thought a situation, a person was there as a stopping point, as this conclusion that it's a problem, instead of what's the possibility here I haven't acknowledged yet? One of my favorite actually questions is to ask, what's right about this I'm not getting? Because usually we go to wrongness. So if we didn't go to the wrongness and actually looked at what's right about it, we may get some more information. Now, not everyone gets there, because that moment, notice what happens to your body. Are you relaxed? Are you saying, oh, okay, so now what? Or is that the moment that we use as these needs to react and need to make someone or something wrong? instead of what's the possibility here? Um, it's interesting because that evening opened up many, many doors for me. Um, I was planning on doing lots of different things on my laptop that night. And it actually invited me to again pick up a pen and start writing. How often have we given up those things that we enjoy? For me, writing notes, writing happy notes, writing ideas. And I used to carry notebooks all around the world. And then traveling so much, I started to actually say, let me just put everything in my notes in my computer or my phone. Because why? It's easily accessible. So I went into that instead of what will create greater for me. There's something about when my hand goes through that motion, the writing, the pen I use, I love. That's one of my favorite things is to buy some fun pens, beautiful paper. So bringing that energy of the paper and the pen together, my creative juices went crazy. And I actually started to write a book. Now, most people would say, you're crazy. Why are you writing a book in a notebook? Now you're going to have someone read it off of there, transcribe it for you. Where if you would just type it on your phone, it would be so much easier. How often have we gone to what seems easier than to ask, what will create greater for me here? What's the greater situation here? Like, what will it create for the world? Because that moment that you are willing to follow and include your body to that creation, you already start to put those energies. They're like these, look at a flower, right? Look at anything. It starts with possibly a seed. It starts with something. And that initial igniting moment of you creating a new business, new project, new service, product, a new book. What is that enthusiasm? Because you're starting to already trickle that frequency, the energy, that story. You're actually putting it out into the world. Well, so this laptop story went from one night to 7 days, 2 different countries. Now, luckily, I have friends who have extra laptops hanging around, so I got to use theirs. But I kept asking more and more questions, and I realized how much the laptop was facilitating me being constantly in the question. And every time my mind wanted to take me to, it's a problem. I had friends who were like, just go buy a new laptop. It would be so much easier. Yes, that's my option. I can do that in 5 seconds. But that's not what actually was light and spacious in my universe. Now I'm going to Houston in a couple of days. I'll buy a new laptop there as well. So I'll have 2 to take with me everywhere. But it wasn't about buying a new. How often does something show up in your life? And the first conclusion, that presumptive moment that we make it be, it's a problem and we have to get rid of it. And what do? We shut out any question, any awareness, any information we can gain because we already put it in the bucket. It's a problem. It's dead. It's over. Instead of, what am I being facilitated here with? Like, what's the information? And boy, in 7 days, I've gotten so many. And one particular one, when I was talking to the highest level support, and Apple was supporting me yesterday. And it was so interesting. He was like, this is so weird. In all my years, I've never seen what's happening with your laptop. It's going into automatic safe mode instead of your normal screen. And the safe mode, the keyboard was bringing it to these funny characters that were not the ABC. So when I would get to my password, it just wouldn't register. It just wouldn't let me in. How often do we go to safe mode? That safety mode. So, guess what happens when you're in safety mode? You and the laptop are going to as if there's a crisis, as a problem that you cannot deal with. Is there anything you can't deal with? Yeah, you and your head and your points of views. That's what stops you. But have you noticed any time you had a situation, a problem, you always outcreate it? It was never bigger than you. Now, if you recall, we are infinite beings. Okay? We're infinite. There's nothing bigger than you. Nothing that you cannot handle unless you put it in your head you can't. Therefore, you create that you can't. But if we stay in the question of what else is possible here, what is the information? So, looking again, how often did we learn? I know my mother was the queen of this. Be safe, be safe. Now, for me and my kids, I was the opposite. I never used the word be safe, be aware. Because our parents didn't know anything different. They just knew be safe. But if you listen to the words and you even tap into your body, like be safe, be aware. Which one's lighter and more spacious for you? And if there was nothing to avoid, because the minute we're willing to be aware, we're opening our zone of awareness. We're allowing ourselves to become aware of the whispers, the whisper that says, don't go down that street. The whisper that says, pick up the phone and call your mom. Something's up. And then you call her and she's like, thank you. I needed to talk to you. Because when we open our zone of awareness, we can receive information from the future. You can become aware of things with your business. You can become aware of the whispers of your body starting to show that there's some problems. Or your body giving you other information. But the whole thing is, what if everything we learned about protection, safety mode, actually now has the ability to be awareness instead? Because when you are aware, what else can be created? You can receive information and then choose what you like to choose. Do you want to go down the street? But that awareness is something we have to build the muscle on, because we have used technology, other people as our reference for awareness. So instead of trusting in us and what we know and opening that knowing to be greater and greater every day, we have made it that it's someone else giving you that information. Now, someone else can. But what if it's not about you not knowing, but you knowing that you need to reach out to someone? Maybe they can ask you some questions. Maybe they know something. Maybe somebody knows something about laptops that you didn't know about. Like, it wasn't until I get to the second level, like the 2 hours of support, right? I get to this gentleman, and it was so interesting. The questions he asked me, and I was like, this is so funny. I know so much here. But sometimes we need the assistance of others to, open that door of you knowing what you know. So, is there a moment in your life? Maybe it's happening now. Maybe it was last year. Maybe it was 20 years ago. That moment where instead of your awareness, you chose safety. and protection. And now, what if it's not required anymore? Can we just let that go? Just because when you have that point of view that sticks as a point, it stays in that moment. Your parts of you are still there. That's why they keep coming and over in your head. But what if instead it would be the willingness to look at that as like, wow, what information did I gain? What awareness did I gain? And now, what if it's not required? What if it's not about you staying at a moment in the past? Because then we use the past to create the future. No, if you use the past, one, it doesn't exist anymore. It can never be exactly the same way tomorrow, but you're using reference points of the past to try to create the future instead of being present and in the now here. So, thank you, laptop. Let's start with gratitude with everything. The minute we have gratitude, we don't have to go down the alley of a problem. Because problems, judgments, they exist at the lower frequencies. But gratitude and questions are at the higher frequency. So, thank you. And thank you guys for being here. And what would your life be like if you were opening your awareness and allowing it to grow with every choice to be even greater than it was the moment before? Like if we're really willing to be greater every moment, every choice, what futures can we create with that? And with that, what else is possible with wherever you are in life that you just haven't considered yet? And if you know not this, what else is possible beyond anything you could ever imagine? Love to hear from you guys. Let us know wherever you're watching or listening to this. Send us some comments. We love to hear from you guys. Okay? See you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, whether you were listening or watching live or on a replay. We are so grateful for you. We want to hear from you. What would you like to hear about? What are topics that get you excited and you would like to know more about? You can message us on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or even sending us a message at globalwellnessforall.com/contact. And also, would you be willing to assist us? Would you be willing to contribute spreading these seeds of wellness and well-being to others? And as always, we are so happy you're here and what is truly possible with our amazing planet the minute we're willing to have more wellness and well-being. See you next time.